Welcome everybody to my world of Power Rangers, and welcome back everybody. It's been a long time since I last did new versions of my old videos, particularly the Morphin Grid case studies. It's been a little way too long. But I would like to thank everyone for their patience for me to actually get these videos out when I had the time and freedom to do so. Now, in terms of this update compared to when I originally did this video back in 2013, now, I need to get some things out of the way first before we get into the main topic of these videos, and as well as what I've been doing outside of the channel and so forth, amidst to the plus, considering this video dated. Yes, I have seen the first couple of episodes of Power Rangers Beast Morph-Verse. Even though, admittedly, when I did these videos back in 2013, Saban still had Power Rangers at the time. But now this is the first redux of an old Lost Galaxy 2014 Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film video made during the Hasbro era of the franchise. Something that I've longed and wished for, to happen eventually once whoever was going to have the franchise after Saban was going to happen eventually up to this point, especially doing a redux of an older video. Yes, I have heard of Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, the video game. I have mentioned the video game on my recent vlog about some updates about the channel and such before, but however, like I said, I have no interest in playing Battle for the Grid, and sure, it looks like what I hoped for was a console port to Legacy Wars, which a Power Rangers game which wasn't around back when I did these videos back in 2013. And admittedly, not really open into playing it, even though I do have a PlayStation 4 available right now at the time of this video's recording. Yes, I will be looking forward to buying a couple of the toys for Power Rangers Beast Morphers and of course the Lightning Collection line. But I will talk about some stuff related to Magna Defender in terms of that recent toy line and some other peripheral things about Magna Defender within recent Power Rangers media after the last 6 years since I originally produced this video. I really came a long way with these videos knowing that, my God, 2013 was so long ago when I originally did these videos, wasn't it? Yes, it has. And it's quite jarring that so much time has passed that ever since around this point when I did my first Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film for 2014, and then my recent Wrath of Trakeena fan film, plus another Trakeena-centric fan film spinoff, which by the way is a spinoff, and now doing my third and final Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film of the 2010s, and as well as pretty much the last fan film I'm probably going to do for a while. Because after all, when I started this channel back in 2012, I really came a long way doing these videos. And seeing the progression that I've had doing these videos had really go to show how I started from nothing with little to so subscribers, any feedback and support, to actually now having over 1,000 subscribers and what little support I do have now. Because when I started these fan films and when I started showing presence to myself in the Power Rangers fandom at this point over the last 6-7 so years, it's crazy, I know, I really didn't have that much support, even though the people that supported me when I started doing these kind of videos back then, I know I've lost plenty of you by now, and I'm wondering, man, what has happened? Oh yeah, many things happened. We had the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers, we had Super Mega Force, although admittedly it was terrible. We had Dino Charge and Dino Supercharge, we had the 2017 movie and Ninja Steel, we had the Boom Studio comics commence in 2016, and it's been a long time since after thinking back to this video. And when reduxing and re-recording what I originally did and juxtaposing what I originally did and looking back on revisiting an old video that needs a new recording and reduxes of old things with new stuff that never has been said in a while. And not only that, I had finally, at the time of this point, I have already completed that Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film, which took a long decade to make. And if you haven't seen Power Rangers Lost Galaxy The Wrath of Trakeena right now, it's on my channel as of right now. Go watch it, and as well as my recent redux and recut of my first fan film from 2014. And not only that, this year is the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. If for those who's wondering, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy has been around for 20 years, and this year is the 20th anniversary. So I think that doing a new version of an old video that I did back in 2013 or so will be a great time to revisit an old video just to accommodate the 20th anniversary. Because I thought it would be the right time to do the Magna Defender videos now, so that way I don't want to have to wait until if I didn't have any further time to actually put something like this out in a while. And yes, following this, I will get to the Pink Ranger videos, but that's likely going to take a while. But we're going to stick to what I have going for it. You know, it's crazy that for all the years I've been doing these videos on YouTube, of all the years I've done Power Ranger fan films, well, only 2 going on 3 and 4 so far that I will release, I realized that when I started, I went from nothing to actually getting somewhat somewhere, but still really nothing though. Because looking back on a lot of the content I produced before I started dealing with internet trolls, you know, particularly from this fandom or whatnot, and other unlikely sources of people I don't know on the internet, plus I had to deal with all kinds of copyright issues with some videos. Then I also had like other problems going on behind the scenes in my life, and as well as what interfered the videos. And also, if you haven't noticed, back in my update video following this video, I did said I was going to delete a lot of my older content, save for the fan film videos. Well, it's to the fact that looking back on a lot of the 800 plus videos I've done over the last 5 years or so, I have done nothing but ranting, raving, bitching, and complaining like an internet crybaby in the Power Rangers fandom. So following this redux of an older version of an old video with a new recording, and as further onward, I am not going to do no more ranting and complaining since Hasbro owns Power Rangers now. But knowing back in the mindset when I did this video back in 2013, I had been under the wrath of Neo Saban and how I was ranting and raving about how much Neo Saban sucked and how much it was like we were suffering in purgatory, and so was I as a Power Rangers fan, and also basically worrying about how the fandom would perceive some stuff, like, I don't know, like anything that's not related to the show. But when there was like all these bigger known Power Ranger fans, now thinking back to when I did this video, and the same go for videos I did before I even did pre-production and actual production on the first fan film of PRLG back in 2014, there have been what Power Ranger fan films were the talk of the town during that time period when I did stuff like this. There was MMPR, which was a fan film by Dominic Savilli that was supposed to be this grim, dark Power Rangers fan film in the style of like The Dark Knight, but more like a dark and gritty reimagining of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which sadly never saw the light of day. But though, for those who supported that person and the people behind that film, I mean, I have no problem with what you guys did back then, but I think looking back on when I did videos like this, I really was a little insecure how come every Power Rangers fan was flocking to films like that and Zordon and Veltar in First Wave, while my Lost Galaxy fan film of 2014 was, well, based on what was said back in the comment section of part 2 of this video, well, obviously a troll who may be a fan of the show or so, saying that the films that I did was going to be destined to fail.
Fuck you!
Yeah, I'm going to regret I ever made a video response to that troll. Anyway, but it's like, I gotta realize that the reason why I took a long break from doing these videos is that I had to reflect back on videos like this, and so where I was being a little too insecure and also being too needy and wanting attention, and basically I was seeking way too much attention like a spoiled brat on YouTube and as a Power Rangers fan. I'm not going to get noticed for doing a fan film like this if I'm just going to like say, oh, I'm working on a fan film, and then turn around the next thing you know, I'm trolling people. But as of now, that crap has got to stop. If I'm going to do a fan film of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, albeit in this medium or so, I'm going to freaking do it. And I know that when I did videos like this, I realized, yeah, people thought of me like I was being a troll. But really though, I was doing the films, but I have to realize people can assume things all they want, but I'm still going to do what I love. I don't care what people say, regardless. And no matter the cost, however, I'm proud of what I'm doing, because it took me 6 years to realize what kind of Power Rangers YouTuber I was going to be, and what kind of person in the fandom in terms of doing anything fan work wise or so, and also at the same time balancing focus and shifting on what the TV show was doing at the time and even today with Beast Morphers and Hasbro, and realizing that Power Rangers is what it is. You can't deny the fact how ubiquitous the franchise has been since its 25 years of its existence in pop culture, and realizing that the TV show is what most fans are mostly focused on. Sure, yeah, fan films, like, well, back when I did videos like this, like, here's how I break it. When I did the 2014 Power Rangers Lost Galaxy fan film, the fan films that most fans at the time, while everyone was all about Neo, Saban, and before we had the Boom comics was all about, again, thinking back, let's flash back to 2013 when I did this video. Thinking back to the fan films that were announced at the time when I did my fan film of Lost Galaxy. Like I said, MMPR, Zordon of Eltar, Teenagers with Attitude, which was basically another prequel film connected by the same person who made Zordon of Eltar. Power Rangers First Wave, whatever the heck that was going to be. And several other fan films at the time. But when I did this Lost Galaxy one, it go to show that I think people were just very eager with the medium that I chose, and knowing that, you see, doing a paper puppet, paper doll fan film, whatever you like to call it, is very time consuming for me. Considering that it's just only me doing the work and me doing these videos, me doing the films and managing and controlling the channel, and no one was involved, I had to do everything in my power to set things straight for me. And I thought I wanted to do this on my own because I felt that, well, at the time, knowing that during this entire decade of the 2010s, not many people were really all about in the groove of doing fan films or so of other Power Rangers. Because during the entire decade when I started joining the Power Rangers fandom, since mostly 2010, because at that time, in the fall of 2010, I turned into a grown man. Or in other words, young man though, at 18. In my final year in high school at the time. But then all these years now pass after I got out of high school and onto the real world, being a YouTuber, doing videos about Power Rangers and so forth, I realized how much has changed since I joined the fandom back in 2010, but mostly 2012 in terms of this channel, and how I was going around pretty much being a little schizophrenic of what I was posting on the internet and interwebs of what the fandom was coming about to notice out of the blue from whoever these people, these random spectators who look up my content were and stuff. And, you know, I realized that if people want to talk crap about me doing fan films of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy with paper puppets and cutouts, you know, I don't care what these people say, like I said, because I'm going to continue doing what I love. And speaking of that, let's talk about the badass that is the Magna Defender. For the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. The Magna Defender is indeed a fan favorite in the Power Rangers universe. And, of course, he is in my fan film series of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Because of that, I was originally going to do this film without him, but despite the fact that I realized this guy has a huge fan following in the fandom compared to most of the majority of Ranger-like allies in the franchise, like Ninjor and Robo Knight. Due to that, I did have Magna Defender, which I already did at this point. Originally, also, I wasn't going to have him because there was some people that didn't care for these Rangers. Because knowing the mindset in the fandom, everyone in the fandom during this entire decade was all about Mighty Morphin nostalgia and about Tommy as the Green Ranger and you know, all that. But knowing Mighty Morphin is popular, so I gotta get over that. Or any of the other teams outside of the original, for that matter. Simply because of the Charlie Brown, you know, designs of the outfits from the Sentai counterpart that they were based on. But people like that, or what I then would call Ranger trolls out there, don't know why I said that in the original version. I just realized I was on a YouTube video about this who are fans of the franchise, and if you're a fan of Power Rangers, there was a video that I found back then, and it was something about a newly improved Ranger Central site at the time being made, and when he wanted people who are still back in the original version of this video. I did a lot of stammering and stuttering during the 2 videos of this, especially this portion, so forgive me. So anyway, this troll said, probably somewhere in the comments or so, if there are fans that are welcome to this new forum site, which I didn't really visit because fuck it, but Ranger Board already exists, and that hypocritical piece of shit forum of all Power Ranger zeitgeist has been around since the Lightspeed Rescue days. I'll do an updated rant about them eventually. Now, despite in the original versions of this video and also the next one, which is connected, I had mostly all pause breaks while also some music in the background, but let's get straight to the Magna Defender's backstory and how we know about him. So there is some stuff or so to say about our beloved undisputed not a Ranger to be. As we know about Magna Defender in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, he was introduced in the 9th episode of the series, simply entitled The Magna Defender. You see, Magna Defender is like one of the most talked about Ranger-like characters in the Power Rangers universe. His backstory is perhaps even 20 years later, at the time of this video's recording, the most tragic character in all of Power Rangers. Perhaps more tragic than Ryan as the Titanium Ranger, more tragic than Merrick and Zenaku, more tragic than the Thunder Rangers in Ninja Storm, more tragic than Trent and Dino Thunder, more tragic than Dylan and RPM, well, for someone who's not a 6th Ranger with a tragic backstory. Not as tragic as almost any Ranger or so you can think of in the Power Rangers universe. His backstory is perhaps one of the most one-of-a-kind backstories. He shows up to Terra Venture, well, during the midst of the Lights of Orion saga, which, by the way, was dull and boring, where he wanted to find the Lights of Orion and try to retrieve them so he can exact his revenge against Scorpius. But when that didn't fall through, there were dire consequences. And you see, during his time during the Magna Defender saga, he came to Terra Venture doing, his I'm on a mission, I work alone. And, knowing the way how brash and aggressive he was to the Rangers, not wanting them to help him, because knowing that Magna Defender wants to do this all by himself, and what is he meant by that exactly? Now, for starters, thinking back to in the following episode, Sunflower Search, Magna Defender had a little bit of backstory behind why he's so bitter and resentful and very, very jaded. On his home planet, whatever the title of his home planet was, because damn, Saban never got to give Magna Defender's planet his own name. I'll just call it Planet Magna or something, who knows. Scorpius attacked Magna Defender's home planet and attacked his son, Zika, and killed him. So, in spite of that, following when Scorpius had killed his child, then Magna Defender in present day would exact his revenge against Scorpius and his right-hand man at the moment when the storyline was in fruition, Trecheron, and to try to get prevent them from getting the Lights of Orion so he can get the Lights of Orion before either the Rangers or Scorpius' army would do so. Okay, here's a plot thread, I think one plot hole in particular. Why Magna Defender never got the Lights of Orion. I think a lot of people tend to gloss over, thinking back to 20 years ago when Lost Galaxy aired. I think one of the biggest plot holes why Magna Defender wasn't bonded with the Lights of Orion by the time we got to Orion Returns. The Lights probably, as a sentient power source of light and a way better ball of light than Sam from SPD, no offense. The Lights of Orion know that Magna Defender's heart is already filled with too much pure hatred and like a black hole. So it makes sense that the Lights want to find those that are good enough with pure heart, a positive, good, pure, optimistic heart to obtain the power of the Lights of Orion. And if that was the Power Rangers. Once the Rangers got the Lights of Orion, Magna Defender was, well, too late. And inevitably, Magna Defender, I can have many ways to sympathize why he made this his mission and why he was shrugging off the Rangers as help and why he was more about his vendetta and revenge against Scorpius and not willing to the fact that he was, the Rangers were optimistic enough to help him to get the Lights of Orion or, whatever it is. But the Rangers were also befuddled and questioned, why is the Magna Defender here? Who is he? I mean, what's his purpose? What's his mission? why does he want the Lights of Orion so bad? But let's just say, put it this way, another plot hole, he let the Lights of Orion go. It probably makes a lot of sense thinking back to the original Sentai footage of Ginga Man, that Bull Black, which Magna Defender was adapted from, let the Lights of Orion, known as Lights of Ginga in Japan, in the Japanese version, go. Now, I do think personally, there's both ways I can I would have liked it interpreted if Villamax's costume was used earlier, not later. Personally, instead of, when Saban did the actual series, which we are familiar with, I mean, nothing. I'm not saying while I'm doing videos about the show, while also talking about my version of Magna Defender, I'll talk about the next part of this video when I get to it, when it's out and available, that Magna Defender was rivals with Trecheron in our show, but in the Sentai version, Sabash, known as Villamax, was a rival with Bull Black, which is Magna Defender. And another difference in why I did that 2014 fan film, to be more closeful to the Sentai version, and still at the same time retain what made the Power Rangers version so beloved for 20 years. Magna Defender and Zika are brothers in the Japanese version, but in our version is father and son. Yeah, speaking of which, I think it makes a lot of sense in our version. Zika looks like a child. Magna Defender looks more like a father because of the stature of the character and how he was written and how he was interpreted. Because in the Sentai, Magna Defender and Zika, known as Bull Black and Krantz, if I'm pronouncing Zika's Sentai name wrong, forgive me for those out there, they're brothers. But you see, in my version of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy for the fan films, although scenes with Zika involved is cut, but knowing YouTube's policy now, if I had any footage of Zika and Magna Defender, knowing that I don't know how I would do if I were to interpret my own version of Zika as if he was a child, but I can probably do a little brother voice, like akin to, don't go all Timmy Turner on this or nothing. But really, though, Magna Defender and Zika in my version, and what was intended based on my original scripted draft of the first fan film for 2014, Magna Defender and Zika were just like their Sentai counterpart, where Magna Defender and Zika were brothers in my version, just like in the Sentai. Nothing against the actual Power Rangers version, where Magna Defender and Zika are father and son, because, yeah, that's kind of obvious. It's kind of odd also. Lost Galaxy is known for having very strong father figures. Commander Stanton and his daughter Jody, Scorpius with Trakeena, Magna Defender with Zika. It's maddening, because really though, well, that's the thing with this franchise. It's like every character, ranger and villain, has to be relegated to just one parent. I mean, personally, I'm like, I just wish if Magna Defender had like a wife. Okay, if he has a son, where's his wife? See, that's the thing, as much as I loved the TV show for 20 plus years, particularly this season, I just wish they would have expanded upon it, or they had the budget enough to actually make mother characters and wife characters of some of these characters. Yeah, saying characters 3 times is kind of redundant and repetitive, isn't it? But I just don't see why is it that it's just Magna Defender and his child. I mean, and his son. That's just like, wow. I understand that, well, of course, if you want to do fan art and fan fiction about Magna Defender, you can go ahead and expand upon that, or wait until when Boom Studios probably do some sort of Magna Defender-centric comic for Lost Galaxy for all I know, even if it's after the 20th anniversary. But also, speaking of the comics, Boom Studios is going to do a Lost Galaxy in space-centric graphic novel about the Psycho Rangers, which is also both Lost Galaxy and in space oriented, entitled The Psychopath. But I'll talk more about Magna Defender in a little bit when I get around it. When the Rangers got the Lights of Orion, Magna Defender finally wanted to take things at his own hands at the Mountain Dome in his moment of truth, Redemption Day, where Magna Defender was going to sacrifice himself for Terra Venture and the Rangers, because I think due to the myths that the Rangers and everyone was trying to open up about Magna Defender's longed hatred and vendetta against Scorpius for what he did to his son and planet, that's one of the reasons why he made the bravest and boldest sacrifice to actually forgive what was done, and realizing that holding a grudge for so long will kill you. And that's exactly what I said back in my 20th anniversary retrospective, which predates 6 years predating this video, and is long determined that he needs to realize that you can't hold on this grudge and hatred for Scorpius. I understand you want to destroy him, but don't you realize the longer you hold to this revenge, even if it's been a 3,000-year-old grudge against Scorpius, it will kill you. Like, literally kill you. So you need to have a moment of forgive and forget and realizing that your son is gone, your planet is gone. There's nothing you can do to get all of that back. And you see, that's one of the biggest things that I love about Lost Galaxy for 20 years. The series is so embedded in sacrifice and its death themes. This is one of the reasons why the way how it was highly structured from the previous seasons, perhaps Lost Galaxy is one of the darkest seasons of Power Rangers. Well, in terms of its thematic elements of sacrifice and death. Sure, there's themes of destiny and redemption into play, but sacrifice overshadows most of these themes. Because basically, one word to describe Lost Galaxy is, of course, sacrifice, and Magna Defender made a sacrifice. Once the sacrifice was made, he trades his life for Leo's brother, Mike, to come back and take on the Magna Defender's powers in the very next episode, going on until the end of the series. Now let's talk about Mike for a little bit before we get to part 2. Mike is Leo's brother. Okay, that's it. He works for GSA. He's one of the confidants of Terra Venture's GSA Galactic Space Alliance. But other than that, that's just about his character, though. If only there was more to him than it should be expanded on. Oh yeah, there's the comics for like Beyond the Grid. We'll talk about that a little bit for what I know. Mike's purpose as the Magna Defender was, once he had the powers of the Magna Defender, he's only used on occasion. Like I said, on occasion, the Magna Defender, well, Mike as the Magna Defender will help the Rangers fight Trakeena and Captain Mutiny's forces later on. But when we get to the end game arc, nearing to the end of the series, in Escape the Lost Galaxy, Mike had to use the Magna Defender's powers to sacrifice what's left of his powers so Terra Venture can actually get the heck out of the Lost Galaxy and away from Captain Mutiny's clutches. And even for 20 years, I still can't get over why did Mike let go of the Magna Defender and why did he sacrifice those powers. See, that would explain why when we had the team up with the Lightspeed and Galaxy Rangers the very next season, Mike never had the Magna Defender powers. Well, again, in the Sentai, Hyuga never lost Bull Black's powers. He still had them. And yeah, this would explain why I think Go-Go 5 vs. Gingaman is better than Trakeena's Revenge, but I digress. But really, I guess it makes a lot of sense because once Mike's purpose in the series' overall narrative is fulfilled, that is the end of the Magna Defender in the main Power Rangers universe. But anyway, on to the side of other things about Magna Defender is the comics and some other peripheral stuff outside of the TV show after 20 years after Lost Galaxy. Now, Magna Defender, after his time on the TV show is over, he has made a couple of appearances in other Power Rangers media. Most particularly recent Power Ranger video games, such as Power Rangers Legacy Wars and Battle for the Grid. It's nice that lately in recent years, I'm really shocked that Magna Defender is finally getting the love he deserves. Way more love he deserves and more merchandise and stuff. Because since we've neared now the 20th anniversary, I really think I'm blessed that Hasbro and earlier on Saban and all the people behind everything right now with Power Rangers outside of the TV show, with like the comics and toys and as well as the video games of recent, where we're finally getting more stuff about the Lost Galaxy series than ever before. And among them is Magna Defender. Of course, over the years of these Mighty Morphin nostalgia induced years of this decade, I have seen for Lost Galaxy cosplay plenty of Magna Defender cosplay over the last decade now. There have been so many cosplay of Magna Defender, I'm just like thrilled with who had the best interpretation of him in cosplay. Heck, I mean, think of all the different Magna Defender action figures we had from Lost Galaxy Toyland 20 years ago, and speaking of which, we will get a new Magna Defender toy for the first time by Hasbro, by the way, since Hasbro, at the time of this video, as of 2019, we will finally get a Lightning Collection Magna Defender figure. Because it's been over 20 years since Magna Defender had a new toy in Power Rangers. Well, outside of the Ranger keys and stuff from Super Mega Force, but We're finally getting something new for Magna Defender for the toys this time, thank God. Because for 20 years, and thinking back all these years after Lost Galaxy, while everyone was all about Mighty Morphin and RPM and Megaforce and Jungle Fury and all these seasons, I'm like, where's the Lost Galaxy love at? And seriously, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. And also, outside, like I was saying about the comics. Now, Mike, in the Power Ranger comics of Beyond the Grid, which does take place immediately after the events of Shattered Grid. Now, by the way, I haven't read Shattered Grid yet, but I will get into that series eventually once I get the Volume 8 comic of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers via graphic novel. Mike does still retain the Magna Defender powers in the Beyond the Grid saga. In Beyond the Grid, he's also, joined with a group of Rangers. Andros is the Red Space Ranger, Tanya as Zeo Ranger 2 Yellow, Cam as the Green Samurai Ranger from Ninja Storm, Heckle as the Dark Ranger, even though known as Talon Ranger for what could have been in Dino Supercharge, miss opportunity, and the Rangers, Kimberly as the Ranger Slayer, who is only exclusive in the comics. Because it's kind of a jarring, though, that it's great that they're actually thinking about Magna Defender in these comics, because I have longed for some stuff for Lost Galaxy and most stuff, because all decade long it's just been all Mighty Morphin, Mighty Morphin, Mighty Morphin, but now we're finally getting some stuff for Lost Galaxy, starting with our badass Ranger-like ally here. And I find it amusing that we're actually doing that now. It's kind of fascinating, really.